Alright,
I want to see that video later. I want to see that video.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Or just go.
Okay, the hand gestures, if you're new here, this is like, I agree, good vibes, I'm feeling it. This is, I don't agree, I don't like it. This is, I'm kind of in the middle. We don't, okay, so there is no middle, that was my mistake. This is speak louder. Point of information, this is for like factual information. This has also replaced direct response, as well as clarification.
this cannot be used for an I statement. If you have an opinion, this does not work. Okay, so if you think, I don't like that, this doesn't work. That's the wrong time, or that's the wrong place. That's what this is for. Factual information.
Point of process, this is if somebody is going off topic and they need to get back to what the agenda item is, or the proposal, or whatever is being talked about.
You can use this at any time if somebody is wandering in their conversation and not talking about what the group is talking about. This will help get us back on track. If we see two of these, Stat Keeper will immediately stop the person and allow the point of process to take place.
Okay, this is block. This is like the most serious thing you can do. If you completely disagree and you will leave the group, if it becomes consensus upon, this throw up a block. If there is more than one block, such as two blocks, just kidding. What? Go ahead. Okay, so anyway, if there are two blocks, that the item has to be tabled or amended. Tabled or amended.
You got stand. This means stand aside. This is you're not exactly on board. Specifically, block means if you're blocking, it shouldn't be because you have a personal disagreement. It should be because you feel like what is trying to be consensus upon does not go along with our general principles, or as a movement. And this, yes, that's stand aside. And then this means you're rambling, wrap it up.
Yeah, stand aside is basically if you're not for something, like it's not for your personal beliefs, but you don't think it's going to be bad for the movement. This is fine. This is stand aside. It means you just don't want to vote. That's it. So next we're going to have a moment of silence, which is something we do at the beginning of every General Assembly in solidarity with people who are being exploited around the world and standing in solidarity with us and us standing in solidarity with them.
Where's our timekeeper? Who's doing time?
I can.
Well,
Thank you, everybody, for respecting that moment of silence.
we're going to read the general agreement that was consensus upon. In our collective action with the Occupy Asheville movement, as we assert our right to peaceably assemble, we acknowledge the serious nature of the work before us. We begin with these general agreements. will strive for unity and cooperation in our diversity. Keep a clear, aware, and alert mind. We will not be under the influence of anything while participating in the Occupy Asheville event. Promote peaceful solutions to conflict. Respect the dignity of all persons. Protect the living environment. Maintain clean and safe surroundings. Respect in our actions the common good we seek. Base our solidarity on respect for the diversity of nonviolent tactics and plans for other direct action groups. Strive to refrain from initiation of offensive violence against any person. Keep any debate or criticisms internal to the movement, avoiding any public or media denunciation of fellow activists and actions. Oppose any state representation of speech repression. Oppose any state repression of speech and dissent, including surveillance, infiltration, disruption, and violence. Not assist law enforcement actions against activists and others, except in the instance of extreme physical violence and with explicit agreement of persons immediately affected by the violence. And encourage our own processes of restorative justice by the people.
Okay, really fast, is there anybody new here tonight who has not attended the General Assembly before?
Hi!
I ask that you respect our general agreement. Cool. Up next, does anybody want to review Saturday's assembly? Anybody? Yeah, I wasn't there, so I can't review it for you. So we're just going to go ahead and skip it if nobody wants to do that. Working group announcements are next, so if I can get a representative from all the working groups up, and we'll take a stack and let you do the announcements.
Form physical stack.
One thing I would like to announce is if you are new here, feel free to find somebody that has been here before to get some more information if you want, because I know that the General Assembly is not the best place for information on what the movement is about.
My name is Dennis. I represent the Direct Action Emergent Needs Working Group. Hi, guys. The last time that I was here, I'm not sure, but I know that they did a report on 11/8. And as of, so I'll read back from 11/11. As of 11/11, our new balance was $90.23. We spent $4.96 on supplies for Occupy apple pies. We then received an earmark donation for $28. That gave us a new balance on the 12th of $85.27. We paid the kitchen parking fee for $5. We used a dryer to dry wet laundry for $4.50. We then received a $200 earmark donation, giving us a new balance the following day of $257.43. We then spent $10 for kitchen transport, $10 for gas, $19.95 for chicken for soup for the folks camping. We then spent $10 on gas, and that left us with a new balance, again, of $285.48. We've made one disbursement since then. That was for $32 for gasoline, and we have a balance of $253.48 left. Also, I wanted to use this opportunity to say thank you to everybody on this part. I was at the General Assembly on 10/28, asked to be the administrator of this fund, as well as the point person and coordinator for the encampment. Due to personal illness, the person who was there and that the group unanimously approved along with me, his name is Rob. He has the money. He now has the book. Until this is reviewed on the 28th, he will be standing in the place of everything I formerly did. Due to personal illness, I can no longer participate, and you guys have been the most fabulous group of people I've ever worked with ever. Woo!
right now we can't.
I'll try to speak fast. I don't know if you've seen the latest edition of the newspaper, The Indie. He covers the occupation here and in New York City. His separate group is holding a fundraising, music, social event, and he wants to co-op with us. So it's on the calendar. We need, or he needs volunteers, or the space needs volunteers, and he would like to open that up to OA. So if you're interested, see me, or email me or something. And any questions about that? And we haven't really talked about it very much, so it's totally open for discussion and revision, etc. That's the 19th, November 19th at 8 o'clock at Flood Gallery is this event. So there you go.
Hi, I'm Jonathan. I have a announcement and information that comes from the outreach working group. A couple weeks ago, there's some folks within the outreach working group that are focused on labor and student outreach, and a couple weeks ago, one of them brought forward kind of a unofficial request from some folks that are in the postal workers union. So I want to make an announcement about that, and then later I have a couple of proposals related to it I'd like to try and bring forward. The main processing unit of mail in Asheville, management with the Postal Service is planning on shutting that down and consolidating it with the one in Greenville, which would mean a big loss of jobs. That's part of a bunch of job cuts, benefit cuts, station closings, service reductions that the Postal Service is facing across the country. On this coming Monday, the 21st, there's going to be a public meeting. Okay, I just like to go ahead. There's going to be a public meeting at AB Tech in Ferguson Auditorium at 6:30, and the several postal workers I've talked to would really love to see us turn out and support them.
Cool. That's been added as an agenda item, so we're going to talk about that more later, so everyone knows.
Hey everyone, my name is Cassandra. I'm here with the Socially Conscious Spirituality Group. Our next meeting is this Saturday, 2 hours before General Assembly, and then once the meeting is done, anyone that is at the meeting is going to hopefully come together and offer some sort of service. If you have any skills that you can add to our group, Qigong, Tai Chi, yoga, meditation, massage, Reiki, sound healing, all of the above, please come join our group meeting 2 hours before General Assembly on Saturday. And we're trying to come up with a weekly schedule to offer services to the group for every few days. Also, if anyone knows who to contact about the Sunday Funday stuff, we want to try to work with that and maybe offer some services on Sundays as well. So see me if you know who I can contact. Thank you.
Stepping out of facilitation role real fast, give you a quick update from the Solutions and Visions Working Group. We had a really good meeting on Sunday. We made a bit of progress. We combined a couple of documents. However, we didn't quite get to a finished document for sure. If anybody wants to participate in that discussion, it is under the Creative Working Groups under Solutions and Vision. The most up-to-date one has the date 11/13 next to it, and it actually asks for your help. So if anyone wants to participate in that, please do so online, and come to meetings on Sunday at 11 o'clock at the Wall Street Cafe and Emporium.
Hey, Naomi. The first working group I like to do is the media working group. Martin and I have been sort of coordinating that part. so far, media continues to be good. The reporters, we have a really strong working relationship with all the reporters that are covering us on a regular basis. And even last night, which could have been a little iffy, we seemed to get favorable or at least neutral coverage. So that's where that stands. Legal working group. We had a meeting last week, Monday. We did not have a meeting Friday, which we scheduled, so we're going to have a meeting maybe Wednesday of this week. There's four main things that came out of that. First is that we are doing an exhaustive search for attorneys to help out, one, with our arrestees, and two, with any sort of suit we want to file for any sort of rights violation. The second is we form a sort of activist legal support group, which is really common during protests to have that. And essentially their role is to track arrests and court dates and help attorneys and that sort of thing. The third thing is we're working on a document with the city to read, and that's being developed. And then the fourth thing is, sorry, I don't remember the fourth thing. Sorry, y'all. Oh, and then there's also been a proposal within the legal working group about a street theater action, which I won't go into, but it's a good one, and will sort of dramatically challenge the arresting of activists. And then I guess it was not the legal working group, but I hear there was meetings with the city, with police in the city today. Does someone want to give a summary of that?
I can if this is the time.
What?
But I figured we should let
We're going to have that as an agenda
that
item.
come up later after
Actually,
home.
there's going to be a discussion on that a little bit later. One thing I wanted to add to media was there was a guy who did a really, really bad eye report on us for CNN. His name is Terry, and he, sorry, give me a quick second, I just lost it. I sent him an email explaining that if he comes at 3 o'clock during the day and he talks to the guy who the homeless use his business as a toilet and homeless people because he's there at 2 or 3 o'clock, he's not going to actually hear what Occupy Asheville is about, and I explained a bit more. He sent me a thank you, and he wants to do a follow-up with the working class who are involved. He has a website. It's SCENARIOINC.YOLASITE.com/live, and I'll be forwarding that to media. If you want to get on an eye report with him, that'd be a good thing to do, to sort of have a second follow-up that's in our favor as opposed to totally against us, because it was actually very unbiased, his reporting. It just happened to be at 2 o'clock with homeless people, and who I've never seen before here. So that's sort of important. That's all. So we're moving on to agenda items now.
We have a list, but I'm going to make a call for any extra agenda items that anyone wants to put forth.
So, really quick, I'm going to go ahead and read off the agenda items. First one is to discuss the new financial council, which there was a financial meeting, and there were some ideas about this that need to be discussed with the whole GA. We need to have a treasury update, which we kind of already did. We need an update on the meeting with the Asheville Police Department. We need an update on our letter to the APD mayor and council that Scott was writing. I think he brought that for us today. If Scott is still here. Caleb has it, never mind. We need to talk more about the Postal Service. We talked about the campsite and what happened, and we have a call for needs for the campsite mostly, but call for needs. And then we will allow general announcements pertaining to the occupation. So yeah.
As far as the communication with the city, I think there's sort of a national little piece of that that should.
We can't hear.
Oh, I said in regards to our communication with the city, both in person and by letter. I think it's important to sort of talk about a couple of the national developments that happened today, which have a direct bearing on our relationship with the city.
So on Friday, it was sort of a small General Assembly, but there was a consensus that we didn't want to have small groups of people going and talking to these councils representing all of Occupy Asheville. We wanted these councils to come to Occupy Asheville and participate in our General Assembly. And to clarify that, the meeting with the Asheville Police Department was not representing Occupy Asheville. But we don't want to get invites from a single city council member to go and talk to that single city council member representing Occupy Asheville. This happened several times. It's happened with members of the police department as well. Instead, we want them to come here. Just like we go to the city council meetings, we want to have city council be able to come to us and follow the rules of our General Assembly instead of having the mayor bang her gavel at us. So that's why we have this letter drafted. Cool.
So,
Okay, bye.
go for it.
So, 17th is the National Day of Action, and New York has contacted us with their flyer. It has 3 facets: resist, reclaim, and rebuild. So if we can, I'm sure that Direct Action has been working on this, but if we are to plan for something, it should be brought up on Thursday, and now would be a good time to discuss. But resist, reclaim, and rebuild. That's the theme.
Any others?
I need some clarification on what you just said, Matt, because the mayor was going to be talking to me on Thursday or Friday, but if it's the consensus of the General Assembly, I will cancel that meeting as of tomorrow.
Okay. Well, it is an agenda item, so we are going to talk about it a bit more. There is a letter that was drafted. Like I said, the General Assembly on Friday was smaller than this. We can have a revote on it, but I think that we should at least read the letter and talk about it more. So, that.
Could I give a thought of consideration, considering I wasn't aware of that till just now, but would you consider at some point, because we need communication, I would ask the General Assembly to consider establishing an ambassador for communication with local government. Just consideration.
To clarify, that was already considered, and that's why this letter was drafted. So, Zach, you want to clarify more on that?
I thank you for your openness to maybe we should reconsider. And I apologize, but as many of you know, I go a little bit back and I refer to the historical stand of the civil rights movement and the peace movement, and most of that was won through court battles and dialogue behind closed doors, not so much people representing, but the need for dialogue. And if we look at it historically, this country paid think tanks in the 70s and 80s to shut down dialogue in this country, and America stopped talking. And one thing about this movement is it should be open to dialogue and not representation. That's something that was put forward at the first city council meeting.
Okay, so before we talk any more on this subject, let's actually get to the agenda item. If Caleb, there was no more proposals for agenda items, is that correct? That's it? All right. Caleb, do you want to read that letter?
This is the draft letter?
This is the letter from Scott. Just a rough draft, so.
Bear with me, it's dark and handwritten. Okay, so the letter is, we, the people of Occupy Wall Street, Asheville, have considered the request made by City Councilman Gordon Smith and the APD to elect representatives from our group. This proposal was voted on at the GA Friday the 11th and was unanimously rejected. It is not the nature of the Occupy movement to elect representatives at this time, as we prefer to speak with our one unanimous voice as both an example and a way of protecting ourselves from the harm that might come to any particular individual who we might put up with. Might put up in that way. Okay. The city of Asheville has not been kind or cooperative to and with the Occupy Asheville movement, and our level of trust for the city has been diminished. If the mayor, the council, or any members of the APD would like to address our General Assembly, they are free to do so at any meeting, as all citizens are free to do. And I'm sure we would be interested in whatever they have to say. Thank you, OAGA. Yay!
Okay. So, before we call for a consensus on sending the letter, it was also discussed that we'd send a copy to the APD, to the mayor, and to the council as a whole, as well as sending it to different media outlets in town, such as the Citizen Times and the Mountain Express, for them to publish, because it does address the people, allowing the people to come to our GAs if they have an issue with us. I would like to accept that as it is. If there's anybody who'd like to actually move to not do this and to elect delegates, can we do that now?
Another motion. Are we having a conversation about? I'm trying to figure out what is the proposal, or is this discussion?
So it's a proposal to be consensus upon. So at this point, we're looking for friendly amendments.
So, to clarify, the proposal is to send this letter to those four people: the APD, City Council, Mayor, and to the media. We're looking for friendly amendments now or blocked before. Yeah, okay. Let's
Go for it.
call it stack. Yeah. So put numbers up, please. We got a bunch.
Why don't we take physical staff? Everybody can be down here. So if you want to talk about this, please come down and form a line.
There's like 60 more.
Everybody come down.
Okay, physical stack, please, if you can. Come make a line.
We're also going to use progressive stacks, so if the same voices are being heard, we might rearrange the line.
All white men.
Nobody's stopping anybody. Stopping anybody else from getting up.
All white men.
What's wrong with the women? Why aren't they getting up and talking? We need your opinion.
Yeah, can you point cameras down while this individual chooses to speak, please?
I guess my only amendment that I'd like to make is that we either identify as Occupy Asheville or Occupy Earth. I don't think we can speak for Wall Street since we're so far away, and this is a global movement for people in general, not just for Americans, so maybe we should start speaking as one.
I guess my amendment would be that there be a way for, if this is consented upon, be a way for people who agree with the sentiment of the letter but have just some wording suggestions, if there's a way that we'd make a way for that to happen. I have one.
I'm Sonny. Actually, I have two friendly amendments to that. One, following what she said, I'm inclined to agree with her. We probably should change the wording to something closer to we the people of Occupy Asheville in solidarity with Occupy Wall Street. So eliminates that confusion part. The second is I'm not certain we should have an accusatory tone within the letter, calling the people, the city, etc., unkind. I'm not sure that's necessarily helpful to what we're trying to do. I would simply hope that this wouldn't shut off all possibilities of dialogue with individuals within Occupy Asheville who are contacted where they make some request for continuing the dialogue if they don't want to come down to our GAs yet. You know, it's getting hard. We've had a hard time getting some of them down here. But, I agree with Zach. We need to keep the dialogue going. That's not necessarily putting anybody who does that in the position of a representative, but simply to hear what they're trying to say and, put our own views as we see it out there. That's that.
Just a real point of clarification. This was in response to them asking us to elect representatives, and so it does not actually block an individual dialogue with a city council member or a police officer, let's say. But it does block you from representing Occupy Asheville. Basically, we're asking individuals not to claim that they represent Occupy Asheville at any time, but they are speaking as an individual. And this is a letter in that cause.
Hi, I'm Megan. I agree with everything the person before me said, and I just wanted to add that one way to make the letter a little less blanket accusatory is we can name the specific actions that the city has taken that we've found objectionable. Also, if anybody wants to work on another draft, I'm a professional writer and editor. I'd love to help if you guys want. Thanks.
Can we get your name?
Megan?
Hey, I'm Dr. Mill. Understand there's two directions to take here. If you take this letter and requesting them to come in attendance of our General Assembly, that's one effective way to put it across to them. Question is, will they respond? To be honest to you, in political protocol, no, they won't. Because there is a political protocol that says they don't respond to such type of invitation. This is one reason why I think there should be an address back to them as an amendment that we respond with a letter addressing the request of representation to them. That is the current legal structure of this government. So you should, as a General Assembly, in consensus,
address a response to their request. I'm not denying the choice of saying, come to us, we the people. Just understand the decision you make will create one pathway of engagement with them versus the other, such as ambassadorship or representation. They want a familiar ground of dialogue so that there is a comfort for them to begin communication. I want you to understand that, because the choice you make on this will either open or close that door and have to be reframed from that point on. Thank you.
My name's Pete. And I've got a few things that I've been kind of noticing, and I like the idea that you're softening the group action to be listening more to some of the positive members of the community like Rosetta and other people like that. And I would encourage also this rotation that you're doing with facilitators and getting more people that have not been down here before, and not just talking, but facilitating, but also just talking. We can't. So that's fine. I mean, you know. I know what you don't need to interpret my brain. Okay, listen. Okay, so the other thing is you can't have two governments. So this business about sending. That's what the process is actually. See, here you go.
He's talking about it.
This business of these people filtering what people have to say, that's going to destroy the whole group. The idea of you can't have two governments. That just doesn't work. So, the idea of sending your agendas to the government, or for them to say, who are your elected people, or whatever, that's crazy, because there can't be two governments. They know that. They're just playing you guys. And if you keep on moving from campsite to campsite, occupied site to occupied site, they're going to be pushing you around, and they're going to make you look like fools.
We're going to have to make it stop. This isn't how we operate.
I know this is how you operate, but I mean, that's how they operate. They get a policeman to push you off the stage. Okay.
So we're not
anyway, whatever. Okay, go ahead. Talk over the back. Friendly amendment. Come on. I'm not being rude. I'm talking. Let him talk.
I've got 10 people asking me to stop it.
Are these the dictators here?
We are.
Okay, fine. My point is that people that are talking should be right here, not they're talking this way, but talking from here out. You should have more people than these idiots talking.
They're not idiots. You shouldn't say that. That's my fiance.
Call the police on
an idiot now, Pete.
Whatever.
Okay. So,
fine, I understand, but I'm talking right now. I've got the freaking state.
As facilitator, I'm going to say that we just ignore this person for a moment.
Right. Ignore Occupy Asheville. Ignore Occupy Asheville.
We have a bad person.
I'm going to tell people's mic. If anybody understands mic check. Okay.
I'm asking for more people.
I'm going to stop friendly amendments.
I'm asking for more friendly amendments
and propose
of the same
that we have our editor. Megan.
Finally, the point is to have more people. Typical people that have down here. More people. Not have these bozos down here telling you how to operate. You're going to get reduced unless you have more people. No, you guys are the ego. You're always down here. I'm saying everybody join in this process and make it more organic. This is an organic time. We even have a for Christ's sake. No, I will not talk to you. I'm talking to these people.
On that proposal, what's
Now,
that?
I am going to relinquish the stage to these bozos.
Move it to Thursday and have an online discussion. Give me a live Thursday and have an online discussion.
Bozos again and again and again because you're not in control. If you were in control, you would have more bozos.
No one here appreciates
Yeah, okay.
the way you're treating us. You're treating us rudely.
You? Who is you? Are you Occupy Asheville?
I said you are.
Are you Occupy Asheville?
What? Am I going to buy check? Does anyone want us to continue? No. You want to continue listening?
I'm all done.
This is a block.
I'm all done.
Multiple blocks. This is a record.
Why are
you in my face?
Get up in my foot.
Mike, check!
Mike, check! I don't need everyone, I do not need to be taken away. I do not need to be General Assembly from I'm fine. I do not need people. I do not need to be protected. I'm not included. I do not need to be protected from anybody. I do not need to be protected from any freaking person here. I'm not afraid of anybody here. And I'm not
To follow our general agreement. We are going to continue.
Forget it. You are an idiot. In the board, you are people's idiots. Why more people down here talking?
Sure, we love you.
You hold on staff.
They will automatically have people's minds.
Have people's minds.
Moving on.
Moving on.
There was a proposal.
Get out of my face. I am done. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. People's mic.
People's minds.
Can stop now. Okay. Yeah, can we do a vibes exercise?
Oh, I got a really good one. Everyone stand up. Okay, you're required to be able to count backwards from 10. It goes like this. We're going to do the first one slow. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 6, 5, 4, 3,
Okay, so, can we try and get a quick consensus on...
There's just two people.
Go ahead. Did you hear my...
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
I'm wondering if everybody can take a deep breath. Okay. I actually have a contrary opinion to...
Mic check.
Should we do people's mics?
Can everybody quiet down, please, so we can hear?
Okay, so I actually have a contrary opinion to softening the letter. I feel like that's a poor choice given everything that's happened to date. And I want to put on my civil liberties organizer hat and just sort of frame what we're talking about with some information that's come out in the last 24 hours. So So, first of all, we've heard from the mayor of Oakland that the cities are actually conspiring together to remove Occupy movement, which means that they're very likely having Homeland Security personnel in those large conference calls. And so, whether the city of Asheville is participating in those calls or not, they're still a part of that overarching system that is trying to remove Occupy movement from public space. And so I feel like we should consider that as we craft this letter. The second thing is we learned that Mayor Bellamy is running for Congress and is therefore going to need a lot of money and support from the Democratic Party, which means that she is not going to do anything that is going to ruffle anyone's feathers that has power. So that's the other thing I feel like we should take into account when we draft our letter, and for both of those reasons, I feel like we should, if anything, make our letter stronger rather than weaken our letter, which, I mean, how much, you may compromise on tactics, you never compromise on principle. Never.
Hi, my name's Tim, and I have a friendly amendment also at the point of process, because GAs in the General Assembly and the Occupy Wall Street and Asheville movement is supposed to be open, above board, and transparent. If we elect a representative, that means the representative would be empowered to make decisions before the group had a chance to consent upon it. So, what I say is, the friendly amendment part I have to say is, yes, the media group would be a good person to be a go-between with the politicians, the police, and the media. But the thing is, they should be there purely as a recorder, not as a representative. What are you guys trying to say to us? They don't say anything. Oh, my name's Tim. That's all they say. They record it with all this technology we have. They then can come back to the group and the working groups in all honest, open, transparent manner and be able to tell what the politicians, police, and the media are asking us. And then we can consensus on a group how we can answer them. And that's the other part I want to get on the point of process on the transparency of groups. Okay? This ain't the 60s anymore, bro. I'm sorry. This is the 21st century. Okay? Things work different now. Okay, wrap it up. 1 minute. Groups can't have secret meetings before the meeting and hidden meetings. And I've been to 3 meetings last week that were abruptly changed to different spots. And it was like, I go to the meeting, oh, how'd you find out this meeting was going on? So, what's up with that?
Thank you.
Well, I agree that we shouldn't have anyone to speak on our behalf. I do think that we should have at least a couple people listen on our behalf. It was stated by a city council member, Gordon Smith, that he talked to 20 different people, and none of them knew what he told the others. None of them knew what he told the others. So I do think they're having a hard time getting, questions and concerns across to us. And while no one person can speak for as many people as we have here, they need some way to get the information here, and they're not going to come here. It's a matter of fact.
I feel like we're being too ambiguous, and if we don't put a specific date on the letter, I'd like to see a specific date. I don't think there's a whole lot of point in sending it to the newspaper unless we're like really putting it on the spot. I think we should have a specific date to invite them to the meeting. If they don't show up, then it's clear they didn't show up. I think we're being too ambiguous, and it defeats the purpose of sending it to the newspaper if we just say, hey, you can come whenever you feel like. That doesn't put them on the spot like adding a specific date.
So, real quick, Carolyn, how good are your minutes for this? All right. Well, I was because we have a whole lot of friendly amendments. If we try and work through this right now and actually draft a letter that we can consent upon, it's going to take us a long time.
Not the job of GA.
I don't think it's the job of GA. I think that there should be a working group for this online and potentially a working group tomorrow. And then we can bring it back in Thursday's GA. Can I get a consensus on that? Are there any? There's point of interest. Okay. Go ahead.
Just wait. You have to speak up really loud.
So she was asking if this can have a physical location and time to meet and stuff. I would like to ask for consensus on it first, and then I'm going to ask for someone to headline it.
Sort of a point of process clarification. So I know there were sort of two friendly amendments, one to weaken and one to leave or strengthen. And so I feel like
those two things will both be taken to the working group, and the working group can work that out and bring it back on Thursday. Is that okay with everybody? All right. So can we get a consensus on the working group?
Responding to.
That's not a point of process.
It is. Well, I have to bring this up if I can get it out before the next siren comes. They only brought up there was two friendly amendments, one to strengthen, one to soften.
Give me a second. Right now.
Okay. Naomi brought up a salient point. There's two friendly amendments, one to strengthen, one to soften a little bit, just by eliminating that one word. So we should either get a consensus of the group on strengthening or softening now before the letter's drafted, or we should ask the group to write up two letters, but one which represents either one of those directions. So which way we want to go with that?
So to clarify, there was no proposal or amendment to weaken. There was amendment to take out the wording which said negative action or negative response.
No,
and
just
then
said,
to
no, just said
specify,
unkind.
and then to instead specify as opposed to use the word negative. So to specify the things we have grievances against. We can do that in a strong wording, I think. But this is something that I think needs to be brought up in the working group.
But my friendly amendment was to actually allow what they call a representative, but it's actually a recorder. The recorder doesn't say nothing but their name.
No, we don't want a representative.
And bring it back to the GA. It's not a representative. It's seeing what they want. And then come back to the group. That's not a representative.
As a point of interest, I would just say that we've sort of already begun that, and it's on the agenda to discuss.
Can I do a close that director slide?
well, I just don't have one.
That's the point of interest. Go ahead.
If you can strengthen the letter and adjust the tone at the same time, you can strengthen the content of the letter with the specific actions you want to point to without being overly accusatory in tone. The tone can actually weaken the letter if it's not done the right way, and that's kind of what I was getting at.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so can we do a real quick call for consensus on moving this to Thursday and starting the working group? Any blocks? Raise them high. All right, we have consensus. Can I get somebody to volunteer to headline that working group? I would actually like to nominate you. So, Megan, do you want to ask or propose a time to meet tomorrow and stuff? That's possible.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be at the research group meeting, but I can just bow out of that and do this instead. So, can people who are interested talk to me after GA and we'll get schedules?
Can you say where to talk to you after GA?
Right here.
Right here.
Right here.
All right.
Right here. I'll still be here, I promise.
And can I ask that you start something online,
Yeah.
like right away?
Should I put it on the OA website?
It should be OA and as a creative working group.
Okay.
Thank you. Cool.
Next topic.
You want to go on and have a report back about the
Yeah, since we're on topic, do you want to have that report back from APD? Who was there? Robert, I believe, and Helen. Sonny. Yeah.
And how much time do we want for this? Where's Dominic?
5 minutes.
Yeah. How much to take time for us? How long do we want for the report back? 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
There we go. Somebody keep time? Anybody? Somebody?
I got a watch.
Somebody, you let me know what 5 minutes is up. Okay.
Okay, so it was yesterday, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yesterday, me, Claire, Zach, Sunny, Caleb, Anthony, and John, we met with 3 officers from the APD, Officer Rice, Officer Brown, and Captain Harris. At the very beginning of the meeting, we told them, or we reassured them, that none of us were spokespeople for the movement. None of us were spokespeople for the movement, and that none of us were representatives or leaders in any way. They talked about their concerns. We talked about our concerns. I think it went well. They didn't have a whole lot to say. Sonny, do you want to elaborate on that?
Essentially, it was just an opening of dialogue because they apparently reached out to us by means of Zachary to try to establish some dialogue. And so we responded as a gesture of goodwill that we would talk with them, making it clear in the context in which we were appearing. Essentially there to hear them out as well as to try to help us get a better feel for some of the issues we need a little clarification on as well, and try to move that forward and see if we can get some more higher ups within the city to start participating in more dialogue. And Captain Harris introduced themselves saying, we're here to make sure everyone is able to exercise their constitutional rights without infringing on the rights of others. I thought that sounded all great until I read last night something from the mayor's office of Oakland, where she was quoted saying the very same thing following the removal of the occupiers in Oakland. So that doesn't necessarily mean a whole lot. Depends on where you put that stress and what that means. But something we can hold their feet to the fire about that's what they're about. They're supposed to help ensure that we're able to exercise our rights, and that's what we're standing. They brought out that the reason for the parks being closed from 10 to 6 was so that the grass could recover.
The grass and the concrete.
They brought the concrete in.
And the bricks.
We should mention Kimberly and I and Zachary were there this morning meeting with Captain Harris and Sergeant Brown and City Manager Gary Jackson. Mr. Jackson's office, and they didn't mention the concrete. But also brought in the safety issues, and I thought we handled that pretty well as far as recognition how close we'd be if we were in Times Square Park to the city police department. Kimberly mentioned it would cost the city a lot less to have one policeman patrolling regularly around, rather than having to have them out all the time, big arrests. The
city manager came back with, well, you must understand, I can't change anything. I'm just acting at the direction of the council, and have to carry that out. I'm trying to wrap it up here. We responded, we recognize that, but we'd like to see dialogue continue, hopefully be able to speak with more members of the council, hopefully try to change this council's decision that they made about the allowance for variance on curfew for First Amendment purposes. So that's sort of where we stand at this point. All right, is there anything else you want to add?
So we have one more quick thing. Can we get like 2 more minutes? Is that okay with everybody?
Last night, whenever they told the campers they had to vacate the grassy area, they showed them this picture. It's a map of the park. They said the circled areas are the park. It is just the map. It looks like somebody took a pen themselves and just circled around it. This encompasses a large part of the street and the sidewalk. They didn't circle it very carefully. If anybody would like a copy, there's some extra copies here of that map.
Real quick, there was also, that was released to the media, and there's a very strong possibility that the article that's up on the Citizen Times website is going to have that picture next to it tomorrow. So you know.
I'd like to say something in response to these maps. I'm sorry if I cut anybody off, but if we can get people that know like the zoning areas, that would be like, take a map please and go to the zoning office of Asheville. This way we can actually identify if the map is correct or not.
I have a proposal kind of. I had the idea maybe I could talk. I had the idea maybe I could talk to my ecology professor, and maybe we can make a sustainable way we could stay on the grass with like cycling our bodies to different parts. Because then maybe we can have like a science professor prove them wrong. Say we can do it. Maybe I could have them prove concrete doesn't need like a buffer. So I'll report back in like 2 days. That.
Assembly. Is there a working group for working with the police department that we could work with an idea like that?
No.
No.
Just something to consider.
Is there support for this working group?
Yeah, there's support.
It's like, no, it's locked.
Yeah,
It's no block. There was people on it.
I'm gonna plan.
Okay, so if everyone is cool with that basic announcement, can we move on to the next proposal, which is regarding the Postal Service Union and what's going on with the Asheville and Greenville merger. The person who's making the proposal wants to bring it to the floor, so.
Hi, so you heard my announcement. So this is coming through the outreach working group. We think one of the great ways we can do outreach is by actually acting in solidarity with people that we want to include in this manifestation, in this General Assembly in Occupy Asheville. And so I announced that there is this meeting at AB Tech coming up on Monday. But in addition to just sort of saying, oh, please go as individuals, we wanted to see if we could get sort of some collective support behind this, and so I have a couple proposals to try and arrive at sort of some collective support. So the first is just that the outreach working group would like the consent of the GA to add this particular event to the Occupy Asheville calendar on the website, and to Okay, and to also incorporate it in general outreach. So that's my first proposal.
Okay, so since we have a proposal on the floor, can we get consensus on it now? And
Can we restate
real
the
fast,
proposal?
can you restate the proposal
Yeah,
quickly?
so the proposal is that this event coming up on Monday be added to the Occupy Asheville calendar on the website and be something that we do general outreach around.
Okay. Are there any blocks to that?
Awesome. Okay. The second is the proposal to start either an affinity group or a temporary working group that would work on mobilizing for this event and maybe future solidarity actions with the Postal Workers Union. So that's the second proposal for either a temporary working group or it could just be an affinity group, which I guess doesn't need consent of the group. But and yeah, I would bottom line that.
So that doesn't need consent.
Okay, cool. So if you are interested in being part of that group and we can decide what we are, I'll be here right after the General Assembly, and also I'm going to give my email address to the minutes taker. Okay, cool. And then the fourth thing is to have a statement of support from the GA about the postal service workers. And so I have some draft language here. I'm going to read it. If it's like easy consensus, I would love it if we could consent upon it right now. If there's a lot of uncertainty, I'd love for people to help me wordsmith it and come back on Thursday. So let me read it. We can see how we did. So this is from the General Assembly of Occupy Asheville. We believe the delivery of mail is a valuable human and public service. We stand with people who do the work to make this service almost universally available across the U.S. It matters to us that the Postal Service is a unionized sector where a large percentage of workers are women and people of color. We stand with postal workers as they push back against job cuts, station closings, and other austerity measures. Occupy Asheville will endeavor to act in solidarity with unionized postal workers in Western North Carolina as they fight for their jobs and benefits and against cuts to valuable public services. And so the reason that we think it would be beneficial to have this statement is so that we can act collectively in support of the postal workers as opposed to individuals and not just for this particular action but possibly for future action.
Okay. Are there any blocks right away?
Not a block, friendly amendment for that. Fully in agreement with the letter. I think we should mention something in there that we demand that Congress reverse the 2006 law that forced the Postal Service into having to pre-fund their pensions for the next 75 years within a 10-year time frame, which has put them in this financial pickle.
So that is a big part of what's behind this, and I'd love to talk. I'm sure there's a lot of people who know more. I think we can continue to do education about that among ourselves, but I don't want to tie a demand of Congress to this language, because this is about standing with the postal workers, not necessarily making a demand of Congress ourselves.
We can do a whereas clause and not do a demand. That still works. Yeah.
So there's one idea for a change of language. I would love it if we could get consent right now as opposed to having to change it and bring it back Thursday. How are we with that?
Maybe unnecessary.
Yes.
Do we have
Yeah, okay, so as facilitator, I'm going to call for consensus on this proposal and then ask for blocks. Okay, so once again, the proposal was to send it in as it is without the change. I'm going to call for it one more time so everyone understands. Okay, so the second one, before you do your friendly amendment, was that there is a wording change, and people can talk with him afterward about wording changes. And then we readdress it on Thursday. Okay? Are there any blocks to that? Okay, so there's a block to that.
You're still ignoring my friendly amendment.
I didn't hear your friendly amendment.
I said it twice.
For this one?
Oh, this is a
different one. All right. Okay, so with no blocks, we have consensus that this is going to get reworded and brought back on Thursday. That's, I had O's.
It's a new hand signal.
Can you clarify your O?
Well, I think there's a general consensus that the way the letter is written now is great. And I have a feeling that anyone that has concerns about the wording, it's just a word here and there or maybe something, and it just seems like that's something that could be resolved tonight. And
Yeah.
I'm solution for the resolution, if I may. Okay, this is a GA resolution letter, basically. Okay, so to put it in that form, we could have a whereas clause. Whereas the Postal Service has been put into a position, an untenable position by the United States Congress, unlike any other corporation or government entity in the country, by this law passed in 2006, and then do the rest of the letter as written. The whereas would include the problem that brought us to this position, and then that we support the Postal Service fully. Would that resolve it to everyone's satisfaction? That's my question.
Okay, so, can I say that we do a really quick break? Everybody can have a vibes break who does not want to be involved in the conversation, and this can be a small group breakout right now so that we can reword this right now, actually get it written, reworded right now with that one new clause, and bring it back in a few minutes, do a 10-minute break.
How about if I work on it and bring the agenda moves on? And we
great. Oh, yeah. All right, next agenda item is we need to discuss the new financial council possibilities and possibly elect people for that new financial council. So before we even talk about that, anybody here who was at the financial meeting who can sing that up?
If there's nobody else, I can talk. I should probably.
Yeah, it should be somebody who's there.
I know that Victor and I have been working on proposals for 4 days now.
Well, if we just had a meeting, let me say this thing if someone else is coming up and then you can add to it if it's not good or
we need the actual
well, all right.
Well, I already had a proposal.
But it wasn't just your proposal. It was like a combination of...
1 second.
So we're going to move on and let this get worked out on the sidelines. And instead we're going to talk about the National Day of Action, Resistance, Reclaim, and Rebuild. Kayvon, do you want to headline that right now for us, talking about the National Day of Action on the 17th? Or is the Direct Action Working Group already on this? Is anybody from the Direct Action Working Group here?
Right now, and so I think we should do it now. I think we should have a discussion tomorrow and have something ready for Thursday.
Okay. You want to start a working group tomorrow? Because tomorrow we don't meet.
Okay, sure, but will anybody from Direct Action be there?
17th, right? Thursday.
Really?
Is it not? Wait, 15th? 16th, 17th. Yeah.
Somebody mentioned it.
But, I do have a concern.
It's a friendly amendment that and maybe it goes without saying, but that affinity groups are encouraged to both support and create their own actions for that day.
I have a small concern that the next GA is the day of the action.
No.
Is it not?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Does anyone know of events that are public knowledge for that day? Someone posted something on Facebook a day or two ago saying they were going to announce something, and I haven't seen anything about it. Is there something that I missed? No.
Is there any proposals for action from anybody right now? Since this isn't 2 days. All right. Well,
Can we have a party on Wall Street?
I think that the next agenda item actually ties in since it is resist, reclaim, and rebuild. And our camp has been basically taken. The next agenda item is camp. And the fact that the Merrill Lynch building, we are no longer allowed to be on the grass. Stepping out of facilitation role real fast, Caleb wants to step back into it. I would propose that we reclaim something like the grass of the Merrill Lynch tomorrow. Or we reclaim, or claim for the first time the park. I like the grass of the Merrill Lynch. It's a great spot. So, I think that would be something that would be in solidarity with the movement for the day. It falls under all three guidelines: resist, rebuild, and reclaim. And we start a really good camp there. And this would have to be re-brought up at the General Assembly on Thursday. It would happen afterward, so it would work fine. That would be my proposal as an action for Occupy Asheville to participate in.
By every night. Every night.
Moving ticket is a great idea. Can we propose a time for that?
The Magnolia tree is?
5:30?
5:30. Meet at 5, leave at 5:30.
Up here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, this is the building, so it's, or this is a stage.
Meet at
It's over here somewhere. It's
Yeah,
far
that's what I'm
away.
saying. This is like the little turnaround part,
4:30.
right? That's over here. It's not part of their circle spot.
Okay.
It's interesting.
No, it's not owned by the city.
It's right here. Yeah, it's not
Yeah, it's not owned by the fucking city.
Meet at
And
5.
they were
leave at
camping there
5:15,
with the
so it's
Magnolia
almost half hour to organize.
Point that out.
And that's 45 minutes.
Point that out.
Yeah.
Okay, Tim, go ahead.
I have a proposal for maybe a camping spot, or occupy spot. There's a, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So real fast, can we get a consensus on time being meet at 5, leave at 5:15, and do the picking, and then have General Assembly at 6 like we had planned. Are there any blogs? I'm going to get through some stuff. Go ahead.
Are we voting at this, consenting at this point on the action proposed or not?
We're only consenting on a picket.
Okay. Let's come back to the action for Monday.
No.
Okay, good.
Way off topic.
Okay, good.
I would like to re-bring up my proposal on Thursday and not ask for consensus on it now, because Thursday is the day of action, so we'll have the General Assembly on camping on Thursday night. Okay. So I'm not going to bring it to a consensus. Okay.
Is this the right time to be?
I don't know.
You did have a proposal for a different camping spot, though.
Yeah, the area where I'm pointing right here on the map, I think, is where the magnolia tree is, and it is not owned by the city.
It is not circled.
And it is not. And people did camp out there when they were trying to save the magnolia tree. They were there 24/7.
Okay, so to clarify this is way away from the Vance Monument, over by the City Hall building. On the other side, okay, so there's the courthouse, City Hall, and then there's the magnolia tree. This is not park property, and people, in fact, have camped there in the past to save the tree. So, I'll bring it up with campers tonight. I don't think it's our decision to make here at General Assembly.
I just wanted to say that.
But we'll talk more on Thursday.
since I don't camp, I just have to put it in.
It's private property. It's owned by that bar, and the same guy who opened that bar, he like built a mall, and I don't think he's going to get behind our message.
Way out of it.
Just saying.
Don't bring that up to campers. I don't think it's the General Assembly's right to decide where they camp. So, yeah. Okay. There's camp needs. Is Anthony here? Or anybody with that book? That's such. You can't get your needs if you don't bring them.
Did you see down on the
we might get back to that.
We're going to table the financial
downstairs
discussion,
door
leave the people on that. Put that discussion more time to come up with a clear and distinct proposal.
Which one?
Yeah, on the strip where people go in, where tourists go in. That's not
so.
Right.
Real quick, to clarify on the call for needs, it is posted online under camp needs, and it is current, and they are real needs. So please look at that, and if you happen to have something that you can spare, that'd be really, really awesome.
I just have a comment. Financial is a working group right now, but I just want to acknowledge that we have one treasurer, and we need to get that proposal going.
As a point of interest, according to our one treasurer, there are 3 treasurers, although I know that to be false.
That's not what it's...
What? Never mind. Just forget I said anything. I retract everything I just said, and I didn't mean it. Moving on. Oh, God, no, please. Go for it.
Check this out.
Oh, God.
This may have nothing to do with all this, but check this out. I did some stupid shit when I was a kid. Got a felony in my record. But why does the government have to hold a felony over my head to keep me from progressing? So
that's exactly why we're here, partially.
All right.
Exactly.
So, there are no more agenda items, everybody. If you guys want to move on to soapbox since the rain...
Well, hang on a minute. Wait.
Announcement.
Wait.
Announcement.
Okay. We need general announcements. And I personally have one as well.
Oh, yeah, and we didn't get back to his letter, which he finished. My bad. I know it.
Okay, so thank you guys for your patience and being willing to do this right now. Okay, so we changed it to starting as, whereas the Postal Service is a unionized sector where a large percentage of workers are women and people of color, whereas in 2006 Congress put the Postal Service in an untenable position by requiring the Postal Service to pay ahead 75 years worth of pensions in 10 years, something that is not required of any other U.S. entity in the public or private sector, whereas we value the delivery of mail as a valuable human and public service, we stand with the people who do the work to make this service almost universally available across the U.S. We stand with postal workers as they push back against job cuts, station closings, and other austerity measures. Occupy Asheville will endeavor to act in solidarity with unionized postal workers in western North Carolina as they fight for their jobs and benefits and against cuts to valuable public services.
Okay, so can we get a consensus on that?
Thank you.
Okay, do we have any blocks?
If you want to help.
We have one stand aside. Do we have any blocks? Okay, can Bob talk to stand aside? But I think we have consensus, so that's it. All right. Hooray! Now, general announcements regarding the occupation.
I'm going to go ahead and go first.
Thanks, Zach. Everybody who has a general announcement, please come forward for a physical check.
My general announcement is that there is a van going to New York for the 17th that will leave tomorrow night and come back on Sunday. There's definitely one open spot, and there's most likely 2 open spots. So, if you are interested, come see me after the meeting right here. That's all I got.
I have been a part of Veterans for Peace in the past, and I want to encourage everybody to come out on Tuesdays. They've been occupying space at the Vets Monument for over 8 years. standing up against the military-industrial complex, which is one of our main problems and why we're out here. So I want to encourage everybody to come out. They're there from 4:30 to 5:30 every Tuesday. You don't even have to bring a sign. They have their own. And they have plenty, so come on out.
Hey, I'm John. I have 3 different announcements. First of all, the coordination working group did not meet today like it was supposed to due to a number of ridiculous circumstances. But we are going to reconvene on Saturday at 1:30, location to be determined. So, secondly, last week I came to GA and made a proposal just from myself about increasing transparency at the GA. The GA recommended I take it to facilitation. I did that on Sunday, and facilitation expressed approval of the ideas, but doesn't have the capacity at the moment to actually implement them. They're working on other structural things. So I just wanted to share that information. They agree with it, but they can't do it yet. And finally, the third thing I want to announce is, as the webmaster, I'm working on a new version of the OccupyAsheville.org site that will incorporate some social media forums and it will incorporate some social media tools directly into the site, and along with other things, will allow working groups to create themselves and have their own space. So look for that coming through.
Really fast, to clarify, why is it under current topics? It does not go by the most recent thing. It's like semi-recent, but it does not show the most recent stuff.
If somebody posted a new comment in a forum, it jumps back to the top. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Just unrelated to direct action, emergent needs. Okay. Right now, I'm making a call for occupiers to go down to the Merrill Lynch building and occupy. We have very few occupiers there and a lot of homeless that are drinking right now. And without people there to kind of babysit and hold the fort down, it gets really chaotic. So this will be the first night where there's, I don't know of any occupiers that are staying there. We need some people to camp out for a night or two. We're running low on people. Can everybody hear that?
Do it again.
Yes.
Mic check.
Mic check.
We need as many people.
We need as many people
as possible. To occupy Merrill Lynch.
To occupy Merrill Lynch.
For the next few days.
For the next few days.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you think it would be useful if people who weren't comfortable spending the entire night took on 3-hour shifts in pairs of 2 to participate in a meaningful way?
Yeah, that would be great too.
Absolutely.
Come down and give your support. You don't even have to camp.
Spend your free time there.
And as another announcement similar to what I just made, we're trying to keep people from drinking and coming back. Preston's pretty good about holding down the fort there, but he's drinking tonight. That creates a real problem, as you can imagine. I don't really know how to address it, how to solve it. The only thing that I can think of is that we need more people to actually physically occupy that space. Question?
Have you thought about getting campers or occupiers to read and sign the general agreement, maybe summarize the general agreement, sign it before, I mean, you can't do it in like a hostile way, like camper, but if you're going to camp with us, we need you to sign these general agreements and see if they will sign them.
Right. We're working on that right now. I'm not... Bennett?
Tim is printing it out tonight.
Sweet.
Okay, is it our consensus upon guidelines?
It's the group standards for behavior.
Yes. General behavior.
Down there. In addition to it.
Okay.
It's a site-specific thing.
It's a site-specific thing. Can you please bring that to GA?
As soon as they complete it, I'm not doing it. I'm just pointing out that somebody is.
Okay, because we already have a general consensus on behavior.
But it doesn't say that you won't get drunk and beat people up and piss in the street.
Sure it does. One more time?
No, that's not necessary.
Okay, so really fast, as an independent action, I'm going to print 200 copies of our consensus upon guidelines again. I've done this 3 times now. And I'm going to take them to the camp. I would really, really appreciate it if at 9 o'clock tonight I can get as many actual occupiers there to hand out the flyers and to be a presence that represents Occupy Asheville at the occupation of Occupy Asheville. Okay?
Okay, and to finish up what I had to say, all I have is that not everybody who's actually occupying in front of Merrill Lynch really gives a shit about Occupy Asheville. I'm sorry to say, but there are a lot of homeless people who don't care. And yeah, another form, another general form that that we could make would possibly help out, specifically talking about alcohol-related issues with people coming back drunk. Not just for Occupy, but just for the people who agree to stay there with us. In the name of Occupy, okay? Most people don't realize that most of the people there, most of the time, are just homeless people who have just kind of stepped up, joined in. They're sort of along our page, our path, but they're not all the way there. They're there to have a good time and live easy, okay? And I'm fine with that. We can print that out, make them sign it. I don't really care about what the form is.
I was just going to point out that the language in the general agreement might be a little too vague or sophisticated for some of the people that might be there.
Right.
So if we could summarize it below, this specifically means.
I would like to specify an alcohol-related point in that general agreement.
Alcohol and drugs.
Yeah.
Okay, so are we opening it up to just like
Here's one more. I have one item.
We have a clarification.
Yeah. Okay, I have a quick item I'd like to ask for consensus on. I'm pretty sure this will be popular. I want to put a board up in the actual occupation with the times and dates of the meeting.
Just do it.
Can we? Because not everybody has access.
That's an independent action.
Can we ask?
Just do it.
Okay.
Please do it. Please do it.
Well, the thing is, though, it's kind of not really a one-person job because it's got to be up there. So it'd be nice to have 2 or 3 people that could go down there and check and see that it's current. Just have a schedule of going down there to see if it's current.
Hey guys, we have a point of information. We'll hear them out.
My name is Preston. Slightly buzzed. I want to clarify that. Louder, please. However, I think there is a difference between belligerence and intoxication. I'm from the Direct Occupier group. I think now, And I believe we can all be here. And I just got here, so that's cool. However, I think we should keep clarity of mind and watch out for each other. I see some type of intoxication, type thing going on there, so I wasn't far. However, we are in front of the building. Where we got the Merrill Lynch, there's no one there right now.
Thanks, man. So the soapbox is now open. So if anybody wants to just scream at the top of their lungs or just say what's wrong or say something positive, that'll be great.
All right. Well, that's it. See you later.
So, congratulations, we're completing the General Assembly. Soapbox is open. There's a couple people who are going to stick around and talk to people. I believe Megan is her name, who's going to help create the working group for tomorrow on...
I'll go stand over there.
Yeah, she will be right over there. And Caleb is going to talk about something.